Good afternoon. How are we all doing? Happy Monday afternoon. Mumo, Paul, Peter, FTNet, how we doing? Market's just opened. We're off. So far, not bad morning. Not great morning. Not bad morning. But so yeah, we'll see where we go today. We've just got a load of news coming in at the moment. We've got loads of news coming in. Actually, the Fed are talking. Levitt is talking. We've just had China moaning. We've had someone slagging off Putin, saying he doesn't know what he's doing with the war. So there's a lot of news coming out at the minute. So be prepared for a bit of volatility. Vance just came out and said if Russia not willing to engage, eventually the US has to say this is not our war. So they're basically going to go, you know what? I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to phone Putin. I'm going to fix it on day one. That's what Trump said, wasn't it? Now Vance has come out and said Trump's useless. Putin's not talking to him, so we're just going to ignore it and not do anything about it. So yeah, good one, Trump. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of news coming out at the moment. It's been a bit of a flood for the last sort of half an hour or so, and it's still going. So be prepared for a bit of volatility, basically. So far this morning, it's obviously a no news day today. We went through all the news this morning. We've got the Aussie cash rate coming out tomorrow. We've got CPI for the CAD. It's PMI day on Thursday. We've got CPI for the pound as well, and we've got retail for the pound and the CAD on Friday. So there's a lot of news coming out. The first one obviously is the Australian dollar interest rate, which is coming out tomorrow, 3.85. So we're going to drop the Aussie potentially on that. But apart from that, today is a no news day. So it's bank holiday in Canada. We've got Schlegel speaking later, but that happened on Friday anyway, so there won't be anything new said today that wasn't said on Friday. So really, it's a no news day today. If you look at the ADRs so far today, we've got a little bit of movement come in, not masses, but the main thing is the Canadian dollar's been hammered today. So Euro CAD up. We've just got a nice drop on that one at the moment. So I've got another position just gone in on the Euro CAD. That's pulling back nicely. Where's my pen gone? Every day it just goes somewhere different. So yeah, that's coming down quite nicely, but that's the only thing that's moved today. So Euro CAD was 125 ADR. Reversal alert went in this morning on that one. So you can see there's my entry. Why are there two arrows there? Oh, it's a pending order, wasn't it? Yeah, of course it was. Sorry, I used the sell stop, and obviously that trails price. So that was the pending, then that was cancelled and moved up. So yeah, taking a third on Euro CAD. I want to keep this fairly tight on this one. So yeah, third entry gone in on that one. We had the reversal alert this morning, 125 ADR. So there's your M pattern, beautiful move down. So looking for it to push down into propulsion. Apart from that, the only other big one we've had is the pound CAD, which is obviously the same as the Euro CAD. So it's pretty much the same move. Reversal alert, nice and tight at 125 ADR up there. And that's coming down nicely. We are double bottoming at the moment on the price action from this morning. And then everything else is that's moving is it's a bit of a mixed bag, actually. So Aussie, New Zealand, that's an ADR, but it's not really. If you look at the overnight candle, that's not really an ADR. Ignore that one. Euro Swiss, that's had some decent movement today. Just about hit ADR there, as you can see, straight into propulsion and selling off. I was tempted to take this. When we got to ADR, I was watching it. It kind of stalled out here. If that had gone in as a bear candle, I would have taken that this morning. I didn't though. So we kind of pushed down and then went back up to bull again. So I was expecting it to continue to rally. Then we had sort of an inside bar on the body, and then it started to roll over. So that has given you a reversal alert. But it was a bit sideways, messy price action, so I didn't bother taking it. So there's your entry. Euro US dollar is also an extension today. That's come off nicely. So that's just reversing off of ADR. and the other one was the pound US, which is pretty much the same pair. So pound US, euro US, same thing. I've got a sell on that one, which went in this morning there. Yeah, so that is position 3 or 2? 3. So yeah, third entry on that one, just gone in this morning as well. So yeah, good moves this morning. Not particularly amazing, but some decent movement. RSI dashboards totally flat, nothing happening. So nothing extended on RSI. We did have some extensions, as you can see, but obviously they've played out, so they're off the dash. So yeah, good movement, but nothing particularly exciting. Nothing banked today. I'm literally just flip-flopping up and down. The P&L at the moment is just sideways. We covered it this morning, really, in the live room, but it's just a sideways market at the minute. So just waiting for some indication on direction. And obviously, as long as all this stuff is going on, it's not happening, is it? A meeting between Putin and Trump is not being prepared at the moment. Yeah, right. Okay, so that phone call with Trump, I'm going to phone up and fix the war, didn't happen, obviously. So Trump's made no headway whatsoever by the sounds of things. So yeah, great. Right, long breaks underway on the S&P. So range is in on the S&P on the 5-minute ORB. There's a little bit of a gap up there. As well. Dow has just triggered a long trade as well. And the NASDAQ is off and running already. So we're out 5-minute ORBs across the board this afternoon, or rather this morning, wherever you are. So all breaking nice and clean. I'm in the DAX from this morning as well. So that was the entry taken on the DAX. Stopped out on the DAX this morning. So I had a short, which stopped out. It went nowhere. DAX today, it was a nightmare. So that was the initial range that went in, which was about 30-odd%, I think, of ADR. Huge. So obviously we just had inside bars for the whole morning. Managed to trigger a short eventually, which immediately came up and stopped out 20 minutes later. And then we sat around inside bar. Finally broke out to the upside. So I covered it again this morning in the live room. Gap fill was a target to the upside, but not very big. So the FTSE was a nice clean break. So FTSE 5-minute ORB went in, clean break to the downside, straight to target. And then it kind of just stalled out where I drew this red line. So I said this morning in the live room, that's where I'd expect to bounce, which was the highs here. So we basically bounced at support. And stopped out with a trailing stop on the second part of it. So nice trade on the FTSE. So that was nice and banked this morning. I'm just kind of hoping to get Friday's loss back at the minute. So I'm just going to watch this for a little bit because I don't want that long on FTSE. What I don't want to do is over leverage too much because the US markets are very in sync at the moment, as you can see. So I don't want to get too over leveraged. So watch this area here. So that little low there before the rally in New York. So that was the open at New York on Friday. We broke down. And then push straight back up. And then obviously we closed back inside the range. Globex this morning hit that and dropped. So I'm just watching this area just in case we get a reaction here. Kind of tempted to take a partial on this already. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to move that down just to make sure that I get a partial on the NASDAQ, just so I haven't got too much risk on this morning. Because price action will be the same as the S&P. So have a quick look at the Dow. So the Dow's struggling to break. So we have just about made a new high there. But Dow's struggling to get out the blocks this morning. Christ. Look at the size of that sell-off on Friday. So we're basically buying straight into this massive sell-off on Friday. Might hit a bit of a roadblock on that, but we'll see. So, question is, we had Moody's this morning downgrading the dollar. I think he mentioned it in here, didn't he? Yeah, there we go. Fed's Jefferson. Yeah, so Livet commented that Moody's downgrade. The world has confidence in the US dollar. Moody's haven't. Don't think anybody else much has either. The downgrade will be treated as same as other incoming data. Will focus on implications for jobs, inflation, blah, 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 blah. So basically, like I was saying this morning, the dollar at the moment is going to find it tough to rally because obviously Trump's completely destroyed all relationships around the world with trade at the moment. So businesses in the US are going to find it tricky to get new business on. And they're also going to find it tricky to maintain current relationships. This is stalling out a little bit at the highs here. So we looked this morning. I read an article about rather by someone on Bloomberg over the weekend. Or rather watched it. And his analysis was basically looking at previous bear market movement that we've had historically when we have something like this happen. Yeah. So when you get a big collapse like this, the last one we had was COVID. COVID was a complete unknown. We'd never had anything like that before. We've never had somebody destroy the economies of the world before in this way either with trade. So what's happening basically is this is the deep pullback. And what tends to happen a lot of the time when you go into a bear market is you start with a collapse and then you have a big recovery, but the recovery never makes it back to those highs. And the second leg is larger than the first. And then you go into your bear market for 6, 12 months, 18 months, however long that bear market is going to last. So the analysts were looking at this move, looking at the pullback, and they were saying this is it. This week is going to give you a good indication of whether this is going bull or bear. If this starts to go bear this week, we're in trouble. If it doesn't, fine. This might just be a V-shaped recovery and the world will just sit around and ponder what to do. But US stocks are bouncing back because trade tariffs have initially been removed. Trade tariffs have gone up by 10% everywhere. Yeah. So import and the export businesses, which is everything that is going in and out of the US, is all affected by 10%. So everything's gone up by 10%, which means P&Ls are dropping by 10%. That's not good for stocks, not good for investor confidence. So the analysts were saying this is probably where we're going to get to before we start the collapse. So as I said this morning in the live room, this is a potential key area we're at today to decide whether or not we are actually going to, or rather this week, I should say more than today, whether we are going to try and recover this and get back to new all-time highs on the S&P. And they use the S&P as the main gauge because it's 500 mixed stocks rather than just tech like the NASDAQ or the Dow Industrial. So this, if this gets there this week, and it could do, we've got a chance of sort of business confidence coming back in and then strength coming back into the dollar. If this turns tail and runs this week on negative news, that could be the start of the next bear leg. And the next bear leg is going to be bigger than that. So the next 2 to 3 months, you'll be looking for sell onlys. Ideally, obviously, we go with momentum at the open, but realistically, you're probably going to get more down days than up days. So really critical day today, or rather this week. So today, obviously, the start, but this week we should see some gauge as to where we're going to go with these moves. Partial close on the NASDAQ. So I've just taken half of that off. Trailing stops kicked in. So that's locked in profit. S&P is still clean. Really struggling on the Dow. DAX is out at highs as well. Okay, gap fill's done on the DAX. Again, I'm going to take an executive decision on this one because the DAX isn't going to move as freely as the US indices. So I'm going to just take a partial on the DAX. We've done the gap fill. This was the interim target. It's literally 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. In fact, it's near as damn it 1-to-1, isn't it? So I don't really want to risk having a double stop out on the DAX today. So I'm going to take a partial on that one as well, which will leave me the S&P and the Dow are the only things to focus on. Right. Give those another few minutes. So if there's any FX pairs you want to look at, let me know. I'm not going to go through a full analysis. I did a full analysis of all the FX pairs this morning. If there's anything you want to look at in detail, obviously let me know. Aussie, New Zealand, these are the trades that I've got on at the moment. So Aussie, New Zealand, I've got shorts on. We're stuck in this at the minute. As you can see, originally I got in on the RSI extension, looking for a pullback into that propulsion gap. We just ground up literally for 3 or 4 days. So I took a partial, did some drawdown control, and we're doing the same sort of thing. Another entry gone on there. But as you can see, since I took that one last week, we've literally gone nowhere. So like it to the downside still. Tomorrow is the... Livets just stopped talking. There will be a readout after the Trump-Putin call. Trump and Putin is not being prepared. A meeting is not being prepared. After the call. So is that still going on? Has it happened? I don't know. But yeah, so tomorrow we've got Aussie rate coming out. So somewhere between 6:30 to 7 o'clock tomorrow, when that press conference is, well, more likely 7:15, when that press conference is coming to an end, we'll get that move started on the Australian dollar. So this one, obviously, I'm expecting some movement tomorrow. I don't mind which way it goes. Obviously, preferable would be down. But if it is going to go up back into the last month's high, that's fine. I can scale in with 2 more positions and then take a pullback on that leg. Aussie dollar, US dollar, I've got nothing on at the moment. I've just taken shorts on this, as you can see, over the last few weeks. So at the minute, I'm just sitting around because we're bang in the middle of the range at the moment. So I'm not trading from here. There's no RSI extensions. So not in that at the minute. Swiss yen, I've got a buy on. All the yen pairs I expect to be weak at the moment. No real reason to rally the yen. But I've just got the one position on that. Again, you can see I've just been in and out on that on the RSI. So I'm in at the moment from here. This wasn't an RSI extension. I was hoping for a higher low going in there, but it's obviously gapped down a little bit this morning, but we're back up to where we were. So in effect, that's not really been invalidated that much. Next entry is going to go in if we come and test propulsion or the previous week's low. Euro Swiss, no trades on. We're just flip-flopping around on that at the minute. Euro pound, I've got 3 longs on now. Took the 3rd one on Friday. We're just stuck again on this. This euro pound is just killing me. I keep getting stuck in it. I got stuck in it last month before last. It just seems to stall out, and it looks like it might be doing the same thing again. So this is where I was stuck. If you remember, I don't know if you're in the live room. In here. So I was just stuck in it sideways. I think it was here for absolutely ages waiting for that pop. And I think we're in the same position again. So I'm looking for higher high to go in, higher low rather to go in and then push up. No reason either of these should be stronger than the other. They could go either way. We've got PMI numbers and CPI numbers coming out this week for the pound, the euro, and everything. So there's a good chance we're going to get some movement on it this week. But right now, I'm just stuck sideways. Can't do anything with it. Euro CAD shorts are on at the moment. That's coming beautifully off of ADR 125 today. That's the weekly high, that previous low. So looking for that to come. My target on that is 1 ADR. So I'm looking for somewhere in the region of 175 ADR to the downside. So retest of those lows. In fact, I'm just going to put a TP down there on that one. So yeah, I'm looking for a retest back down here and potentially, continuation short, but needs some Canadian dollar strength to come through. And pound US dollar got shorts on as well. So the pound US dollar and the US and the euro CAD are very similar price action at the moment. So a little bit overexposed on that, but they've kind of gone a little bit into sync. But looking for these propulsion gaps to the downside to get filled. Again, some US dollar strength. So I'm hoping for good PMI numbers this week from the dollar. The forecast is kind of down. So what I'm hoping is that we get a slight uptick on forecast and we get a little bit of a rally on that this week. We've got the Canadian CPI numbers tomorrow, which hopefully will be bullish as well. They're forecast to be a little bit bullish, as you can see. So the common is looking to go up 0.1, trimmed up 0.1, and median stable. We're expected to go up month on month, which we should do because of the trade tariffs. So they're going to start to kick in now onto the CPI numbers. So the next batches of CPIs we're going to get are going to include tariffs going up. So there's a possibility of a bounce on the CAD this week, which will help the US dollar as well. So everything's just kind of flip-flopping. I'm stuck in everything. It's just one of those, turning into one of those months where, you know, you just can't do a lot with it. Everything that I'm banking is singles, and singles don't make you much money because it's just 0.25% risk. So we will see. But that's what I'm in. As you can see, I haven't banked much, but waiting. Afternoon, Marco. Anik, afternoon. Can you please analyze the NAS? It's going up. I bought it. I've got out. I've got a trailer on. I trade the opening range breakout strategy with my EA. So my strategy is basically analyzing the 5, 10, 15, and 30-minute ranges, looking for them to be a certain percentage of ADR. And if they are, I go with flow. So NAS, you're looking basically upside. Resistance is obviously you got Friday high and last week's high. So this area obviously is your ultimate upside resistance. That's 1 ADR from the low. Sorry, it's not. It's 1 ADR from the high of the 5-minute ORB. So watch this area here. This is where we started to sell today, and it looks like it's reacting there, doesn't it, at the moment? So we are getting some tweezer tops going in at propulsion. So this propulsion leg that we had in Globex, that is potentially dropping. If we break that high, obviously, you're running into a load of sell orders up here as well. So it's quite difficult to get upside today on this. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to shut it. I'm just going to trail it really tight. S&P, I'm also about to partial on it. I'm going to take a partial on the S&P just to get that in the bank because I'm up 2.5K, which has got Friday's loss back. So, and then I'll let runners go basically, see how far we can get. DAX partial is in. Why is that not trailing? Oh, I've moved my, I'm just going to trail that up manually, break even, because obviously I take that partial too soon, so my trailing stop doesn't kick in until 2R, which is kind of up here somewhere. So I'll leave that in place. In fact, I might. No, I'll leave it as it is. Trailer. There you go. So I think I've just taken a partial on the S&P. There we go. Partials on the S&P. And the Dow obviously is still a full position running. So Dow upside. Partial close before the high of the day, or high of Friday rather, which is high of the week as well last week. So that is your kind of moving into your all-time high territory. So there's a good chance that we're going to find some limit orders up there. US dollar Swiss, I know you said the previous stream, it's a good buy. Yeah, so these lows, so we're looking at these previous highs, that accumulation. We've got that gap fill. So this is holding nicely, but it is a descending wedge, which is bearish. So the only thing this has got going for it at the moment is the Swiss franc is going to be weak because the Swiss inflation figures came out at 0, so they are virtually into recession. They've been dropping interest rates down to 0.25%. So we're now down to 0.25% interest rates. There's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't go negative as before. Yeah, so the Swiss are known for negative interest rates. They will get there faster than everybody else. And as we've just had a drop in inflation figures, that's on the cards. So we should be seeing a weak Swiss franc. The difficult decision is, are we going to see any strength in the dollar? So if the dollar ends up being weaker than the Swiss franc, which is really weak, that tells you something about the dollar, which means you'll probably find the stock market going in exactly the same way. Thinking of entering on the first reversal signal and M15. Yeah. You've had it already. There's your retest. You've had the reversal entry already. A little bit of a gap fill there. Big, but it is there. I think this is probably going to be more bullish than because of Swiss franc weakness than dollar strength, but dollar's not doing bad at the open. So we've got a strong dollar at the open. Good as anything. Nice 3-bar reversal there, look. And your retest. Interim target and then breaking out the highs. Dow Jones about to close a partial. I'm just going to do that because I want it. I'm not going to let it tickle my partial close and then not actually close me out. It's got 1.5 minutes left. I'm sure it will get above where I did have the partial, but belts and braces, I'm not leaving 2.5 grand on the table and being an idiot because it didn't cross a line. Afternoon, Ryan. What's your opinion on Euro US? Difficult one, that, because the Euro is going to be weak with dropping interest rates and the US is weak on Trump. So you've just had a reversal today, bullish reversal going, look. And we're putting in higher market structure. Out of propulsion. So, I mean, it looks to me ever so slightly bullish, but that I think is because the dollar's weak. I don't think it's anything to do with the euro. So we're dropping interest rates by another 0.5% on the Eurozone, in theory, in the next sort of 3-4 months. So the dollar is not going to be able to drop interest rates at the moment. The Fed have pretty much confirmed that because inflation is going to go up because of the tariffs. So if you've got euro dropping interest rates and US keeping them stable, in theory, euro should come down against the US. But you know what Trump's like. He can say whatever he wants at any time, can't he? He can either kill it or whatever. You know, he's, this is not a normal market structure environment that we're in anymore. We're in Trump land, and it's very different to normal. TP done on the Dow. So trailing basically on the rest of this position, 2,173 banked. Everything else is locked in. So if we get a nice rally ADR day, be a nice profitable day. If it pulls back, Friday's losses are back in the bank. Let me just quickly see how. So trailing stopped out on the NASDAQ. So yeah, I'll just let the S&P run. So I mean, literally just got DOW and NAS on now. So yeah, don't know on the euro US dollar. I really don't know on the euro US dollar. Same with the pound at the moment. There's no reason for the pound to be bullish either, particularly. We've just dropped interest rates. But, you know, it's a all FX is a battle between strength. So it's who is going to be the stronger out of those two, basically, moving forward with all of this tariff stuff going on. We are doing deals at the moment with Europe. We're doing deals with China. The US are trying to get deals done, but no one's interested at the minute. Putin won't talk to him. Xi rather, has come out this morning in no uncertain terms and said, we urge the US to stop discriminating actions towards China, correct its wrongdoings. And I think basically Trump was expecting China to roll over, and China have just turned around and stuck their finger up and gone, we're bigger than you. It's like, you used to be the big guys. US, you're not anymore, unfortunately. There's other continents with more landmass growing faster. And unfortunately, you can't push them around anymore. So I don't quite know what the dollar's going to do. It's a very tricky situation. Short term, I think you're probably going to do very much the same as what has happened here. I don't think there's going to be a lot of difference. So short term buys and sells, 200 ADRs worth of movement each week, roughly. But, you know, all of these, technically, everybody on the planet is looking at this and going, it's going to pull back. Everybody's expecting this to be undone, but I'm not convinced. So I don't know. This is why I'm keeping my powder dry at the moment, and sort of keeping the risk very tight and keeping the number of pairs that I trade very small, because if you overexpose yourself to a dollar move, you are going to get really stung. So I'm just keeping my exposure tight at the moment. The euro, I'm not too worried about getting a little bit more exposed on, because you can cross the euro with more pairs that are less confluenced with the US dollar. So I'm not too worried about that. Thanks for the follow, whoever that was. Peter Post, welcome aboard. I think we need to get John Wick involved. Why does that keep opening that size now? It's really annoying. That used to open spot on in the middle of the screen. Doesn't do it anymore. Come on, John. Right. S&P still going. Green candle since the open. Look, there's not one bear in sight at the moment. Market very confident today. DAX is still rallying. I'm glad I took that pending order off the FTSE. I do not want to be long in it after a move of that size. A little pullback first, but I'm not trading the FTSE anymore today. So the only exposure I've got on now is that S&P, DOW, and the DAX. In fact, I'm going to take that DAX off. Just hitting this accumulation up here. I'm just going to bank the DAX, I think. Get rid of that. So out the DAX this morning. Those two run. Afternoon, Chris. That's really all I've got for you today. I'm not going to be doing anything else with these, obviously, today, because everything's just gone straight to TP today, which is lovely. The analysis that I did this morning on all the other pairs, obviously, we've had a little bit of movement on these, but there's not. We haven't quite managed to break out of most of the highs and lows that we had this morning. It's kind of dropped and popped, or popped and dropped. So not really going anywhere, but we weren't expecting it to really go anywhere because it's Monday and it's no news day. Nice bounce on the euro odd there. The Australian dollar, we were talking about potentially a move on that ahead of tomorrow. Aussie CAD's gone up. Aussie Swiss has not really gone anywhere. Aussie Yen's trying a little bit. So you can see there's not really an awful lot of movement on the Australian dollar today. So I don't think the market's going to pay much attention to the interest rate tomorrow, but we will see. So we might get a bit of a shock. Talk about gold. I can talk about it. I don't trade it. It's an inverse cross for the US dollar. So if the dollar's going up, gold's going down. If the dollar's going down, gold's going up. At the moment, dollar's going up, gold's going down. Gold is coming down long term, obviously, at the moment, but we have taken a nice little bounce out of the accumulation. So back up into there, I would say, probably. But I don't really trade gold. It's not a position trading instrument. Could go anywhere. At the moment, we're coming off Friday's highs. So watch for a bounce at the lows, I guess, today. Not something I trade. Same as oil. So the other thing about oil, which again I covered this morning. So the euro, or the Europeans, came out this morning saying that they're likely to propose $50 per barrel as the new level of G7 price cap for Russian seaborne oil. Okay, so if they're going to propose this price cap, Trump was also talking around about the $50 to $60 a barrel as being the cap. So if the EU and the G7 all agree on $50 for the Russian oil, everybody else's oil is going to be expensive. Therefore, everybody else will probably need to drop their oil prices while that cap is in place. So remember I said a few weeks ago, I really fancy this down to $50 a barrel. The EU have come out now, and there's my line, have come out now and confirmed that. So this bear move that we've got kind of going on at the moment, potentially, we should be looking to get back down there in the next couple of weeks, potentially. It's going to take quite a bit, I think, to get there in a couple of weeks, but $55 a barrel by the end of this week, next week, should be on the cards. And then as soon as we break that monthly low, I think we'll have a nice big double daily drop on that. So I kind of really like it as a short. I'm not going to take it in here because I wouldn't position trade it short. It would be something I would take stop loss trades on. But at the minute, I can't really see an entry. So we had the gap fill done on Friday, sort of, didn't quite do it. So I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens with this, to see if it gives any kind of just a, big bear candle or something like that, an hourly or 4 hourly big bear candle going in. That's probably what I would look to sell and try and get a sort of runner on it. But I won't do it in this account because I wouldn't scale into it. But I have other accounts. Obviously, I'll just probably hit the button on it at some point. But I want to see it go there first. I want to see it sort of get on its way. But that was really good news this morning that the G7 are looking to cap the Russian price, because if the Russian price is capped, obviously everybody else's price is void, isn't it, really? But it depends on obviously supply. So obviously the Russians can restrict supply if it gets too cheap, and then obviously price of it will just go up. So it's just another sanction on Russia that the G7 are sort of hammering home. You can't fight a war without money. And if you can't supply the oil and sell the oil, you don't get the money. So just trying to strangle them financially at the minute. And obviously Russia is looking to pump elsewhere because obviously China still want it. There we go. So there's China. God, it's almost like they're listening, isn't it? China's proposing an increase of oil supplies from Russia. So basically, Europe screws Russia. Russia just gives it to China. Same thing. Trump screws Europe. Europe just goes to China. Yeah, it's the way it works. It's a market. If everybody's got something that people want to buy, they buy it at the cheapest price. Simple. Supply and demand. S&P, I'm going to drag my stop underneath this propulsion gap just to lock in a little bit more money. We are from the open, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candles non-stop, straight up. This thing is going to get exhausted. We've put a whacking great wick in on the Dow. So I'm just protecting a little bit more of the trade because it is going to pull back at some point, obviously. So that's 8 straight up across the board. Nasdaq's the only one that's had a little bit of a wobble, which is what I got out on. Okay, we've got 1.5 minutes left on this candle. So we're painting an inside bar on the Dow and the S&P. So indecision going in. That was the last indecision we had there. So that was your last inside bar candle. This is the second inside bar. So likely we're going to run out of steam potentially up here. Seconds. Anybody got anything else they want to look at? If there isn't, I shall disappear. Aussie US looks like it's going for a new high of the day. Swiss yen reversal alert is kicking in. Look at that. Beautiful. So you're going to get a reversal alert on the Swiss yen. Actually, well, no, you've got 45 minutes left on this candle, but it's looking good, isn't it? So there's your reversal going in. So if that reversal holds, we're looking at targeting the previous 2 days highs. If we can get to ADR today, we're going to come up and test that area tomorrow, 150 ADR. So good looking long opportunity on that. I'm already in it. So that's looking good. Potential for next leg all the way out of those highs. So nice reversal alert about to kick in on that. Everything else just flip-flopping at the minute. Okay, so inside bars are in. There's an inside bar on both. So if this candle goes bull, we're off again. So trailing stop. I'm just going to put it below the low of that inside bar. If we break that inside bar, I want out because I suspect that will be the end of the first leg up. If it's not, though, I'm happy for you to carry on going. We're nearly an ADR, look. Well, not. We're about half an ADR, but ADR's there from the open. lot further to go on the Dow, but from on the S&P, we're getting pretty close. Hey. Afternoon, Marco. Thanks for your response in Discord today. Yep. Very complicated, that thing. Marco was looking at an indicator for plotting risk, basically. And so you can place different orders on the chart, and it will tell you what your drawdown will be at different points. It's very complicated coding. Not something I can really implement very easily onto my stuff, but good little tool. What is red and non-red on financial juice? So red news is high impact, which means it's something that will either affect the stock market or affect currency pairs. High impact news. So these are basically just news events where, as you can see from the chart, as soon as that news hits, there's going to be an instant market reaction. So it basically just warns you that something's just hit the market that could potentially cause a reversal or a shift in sentiment. Anything that's normal news is normal news. If you're asking that question, I suggest you stop trading until you understand what this thing is, because this is what drives the market up and down. And if you don't understand news, you're not going to do very well in finance, because this is what makes it move. Trump speaks to Zelensky ahead of his call to Putin. Right, so this hasn't happened yet then. So that's good, because it means that it's not all over. And all these comments that were coming out earlier about if Russia's not willing to engage, eventually the US says to say it's not our war and all this sort of stuff, is all preemptive. So means nothing, does it? So we'll wait and see what happens when that phone call's over. But I suspect it's not going to go very well. I think Trump is obviously speaking to Zelensky to get a final list of what are you willing to concede. And Zelensky's going to turn around and go, nothing, it's our country. There's nothing you can do. The only way this war ends is with the deal that Zelensky is doing with the US for the minerals, and for the US to plonk a load of US citizens in those fields and start digging up the minerals, because Russia cannot go beyond wherever that US contingency is. If they are digging minerals here, Russia can't go there. That's what fixes it, basically. Stops the war, because if you attack the US, you attack NATO. If you attack NATO, your country's stuffed. Yeah, Putin can't win. He can't beat us all, can he? So that's the only way. Well, he can. He's got a lot of nuclear missiles, but that's the only way this ends. So I think it's either going to be make or break today. And as Vance said earlier, if they can't do a deal, I think US is going to turn its back. And if US turns its back, Europe's going to have to step up big time, aren't they? So there's a lot of important stuff going on today. Okay, new high of the day on S&P. Not a lower high on the Dow. So we are starting to run out of steam. I suspect sector purchases are over, so they'll start to move a little bit more independently now. But we have got a new higher high, higher low on the S&P. We've got higher high, higher low on the Dow, although we are still inside bar on that last 10-minute range. So like a steam train today, isn't it? I stopped trading year 2022. That doesn't change the fact that news is the most important thing on the planet. It has been since news has been released. Yeah. This is what drives it up and down, and what it always will and always has driven it up and down. If someone comes out and says we're going to increase our interest rates by 0.5%, that is going through the roof. You need to know why. It's not my bugbear, but it's one of the things I don't understand. People in Discord, in my Discord group and other Discord groups, every now and again, you get a massive spike on a candlestick and people go, wow, what just happened? It's like, how can you not know? If you haven't got your finger on this thing, you haven't got a chance in hell of understanding anything that's going on in the market sphere. It's the only thing that works. News. Obviously in technical analysis, because that is key. Moving averages are very good as well. If it's your first time here, I've gone into sarcastic mode, so I do apologize for that. You probably won't come back again. Right. I think I'm going to call it a day there. So I'm just going to drag this stop up underneath the bear candle because as soon as these bears take control, I think we're going to flush. So I'm just going to lock it in. I'm locking in as much profit as I can just to keep this up. Be nice if we can get to $3,000 today, wouldn't it? But as you can see, we are starting to stall out on the Dow. We are starting to slow down on the S&P as well, and I think the Nasdaq's probably done the same. Yeah, so we got higher high, higher low in on the Nasdaq, but we didn't manage to really make any progress, so we are kind of stalling out. Plane's running out of oxygen, engine's going to stall in a minute, and we're going to pop back down again. So look for a pullback. Very hard to pick an entry point on this. There's so many propulsion moves. This basically, since the open, really, if you look at the first 1, 2, 3, 4 candles here, that entire 20-minute open is one massive propulsion gap. So really, that down candle here, tiny little 10-minute accumulation, potentially that could be your bounce point if we're going to go into a trend today. Not quite sure why we would trend so hard today, but if we are, that's probably where I'll be watching. So again, there on the S&P is potentially your sort of pullback point. We will see. Do you recommend limiting yourself to 2 news sources to keep things simple? I don't know why you need 2. I mean, financial juice is everything. I don't need to. News is no use to you, in the fact that it's like any other indicator. It happens after the event, so you will see the spike, and then you will go to the news and find out why the spike occurred. The spike has happened. You've missed it. So your decision is, right, that news is massively impactful. I will get on the spike, or wait for the spike to retrace and then get on it, or you will go, that doesn't make any sense, I'm going to mean revert it. So all that the news does is give you the reason for the move that's just occurred. It doesn't help you decide, or it doesn't help you get into a trade initially on news. So I use Financial Juice just because it's an aggregated feed, which means obviously it's lots of news sources in one. But and again, I don't pay for the premium version of this because there's no point. The premium version gives you the news sort of like 10 or 15 seconds earlier. I'm not trading news. I want to know why something's moved, but that 10 seconds, 15 seconds is not going to help me. So you can get news. There's lots of places. News Squawk's another one. But News Squawk is ridiculously expensive. Depending on what you want. If you want all of it, forex, metals, and everything, you're looking at $1,000 a month. Oh yeah, on multi-asset they do for £300 a month. But if you do a 7-day trial of this, right, and watch the news come in on here, and then watch the news coming up of Financial Juice. This is free. This is 300, and there's no point in getting in it earlier. 10 seconds does not make the blindest bit of difference. Okay, we're stalling out up here, out the Dow. Closed out the Dow there. So the only trade I got left running now is the S&P, which is about to stop out. I also love Forex Live, but it's not as quick as Financial Juice. I think I've heard of that one. I have. not seen this one before. I presume they normally have a banner ad up there. Oh yeah, there we go. I don't do banners. Fed up being advertised to. Get rid of them. I mean, news is little use to you really, apart from after the fact. So it doesn't matter where you get your news from. Okay, so done for the day, 2-7. So yeah, good week starting, hopefully. So there you go, flat. Is your financial juice premium? No. All free, that's why I use it. I've noticed you use financial juice. Forex Factory is for scheduled news. Financial juice is for non-scheduled. So if I only use financial juice for non-scheduled news, so it's more like your Twitter financial juice. This is Forex Factory is economic news. So financial juice is important at the moment for Trump. Yeah. So when Trump says something, the market goes mental. So you need to know what Trump's just said. And that gives you an idea of, but like I said, news is what drives the market. Unless you really understand economics or have some kind of scorecarding system that you use to score economic sentiment, this is useless to you. It tells you something's just happened. So Trump will say, we've decided to increase tariffs on China to 50% for the next 30 days while we're in negotiations. The dollar is going to spike. What do you do next? If you don't understand what impact a 50% increase on tariffs to China is going to have on the dollar over the next hour, 2 hours, 6 hours, 3 days, week, whatever, it still doesn't help you, does it? And I don't know a lot of the time what Trump's news is going to do, but I do know that when Trump speaks, the market goes mental. And normally 90% of the time, whatever he's caused, it will do an A-shaped recovery or a V-shaped recovery pretty much 80 to 90% of the time. Because Trump says stuff, it's the old buy the rumor, sell the news. Trump says stuff, the market goes crazy and goes, quick, flatten everything, just in case. And then the analysts go, but that's not going to really make any difference. All right, we'll put the position back on again. That's what happens vast majority of the time. You just need to know that it isn't World War III kicking off, that it isn't an assassination, or the Fed haven't just suddenly come out and said, due to what's going on at the moment, we've decided to drop interest rates by 0.25% out the blue. Those sorts of things are going to move it, and they're going to keep it moving. 9 times out of 10, it's Trump, or it's someone responding to Trump, like China. Stop being a baby, stop throwing your toys out the pram, and start doing some deals with us, because we're bigger than you. And if you don't, we'll just crush you. Yeah, that's their nice way of saying it. There's only so many times someone starts talking nice before they start talking nasty, isn't it? So, yes. And don't forget, Trump is also talking today to one of China's biggest allies, Russia. So he's got to be very careful how he treads, isn't he, at the moment? Out of the S&P. I've already said that, haven't I? So, yeah, flat, reversing back down. So just if you do want to try a trend trade on these today, somewhere around there is a likely bounce point, but this could just, sideways. Don't forget, we're potentially going into a bear market. So bull days are going to start to become more popular. FX Pro offers it for free. Yeah. Is your setting for ORB 3.1 you are using the same as provided with the EA from your page? No, at the moment I'm using 0.15. And so I'm using ADR 3 and 0.15 as minimum range instead of 0.2. Doesn't matter, they all work. So If you were using 20% of ADR today, you'd have got exactly the same trades on as me. Trailing stop at 20% of ADR. I use 30% of ADR on the DAX. So the trailing stop is 0.3 instead of 0.2. But apart from that, everything else is the same, yeah. There used to be a good thing on Twitter called TweetDeck. Yeah, I used to have TweetDeck. Yeah, that was really good. But DAX is coming down hard. Yeah, I got rid of TweetDeck because it was full of sentiment in both directions. The thing I like about this is this comes from reputable sources, and TweetDeck, you used to be able to put anything you wanted into it, and you get a load of people saying one thing and then a load of other people saying the other thing, and you would end up as a trader just going buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell all day long. Absolutely no use. This is more use when Trump's in charge, I have to say. When Biden was in control, we didn't really pay too much attention to it because you didn't need to. But now, every time Trump is awake or Vance is awake, you need to be aware of it because this is what they do, isn't it? They manipulate the market. They came out blatantly and said, now's a good time to buy. And then 12 hours later, removes the tariffs. So he's basically telling everybody he's about to manipulate the stock market, which is highly illegal. But hey, you put a Fed in charge? A Fed. A felon in charge? What do you expect? Squawk box. Yeah. Another good one. There's two different from the two financial report. Don't know what that means. But think Musk bought it and made it premium for ex-members only. Yeah, probably. Do I prefer the ORB over the stock index hedge? SIH is killing it at the moment. I mean, SIH has done 10% this month. ORB's done, I don't know, more actually. I like them both. I flip-flop. I used to prefer SIH because I found the original opening range breakout strategy that I developed frustrating because it stopped out so much. But that was because of the way that EA was coded. It was coded in a way that it was very aggressive. And on range-bound days, it got too aggressive and it annoyed me. And it still made lots of money, but it had equity curves with an awful lot of stagnation. This new version of ORB, version 3, has a lot less stagnation. So the equity curve is more like that than like that. Because when we are like this, the loss recovery system kicks in and it makes the equity curve that little bit smoother, if you like. Which is kind of what SIH's equity curve used to look like, or does look like as well. So it's personal preference. I don't really have one. If it's making money, I like it. At the end of the day, that's what's important. So they both make money. But I segregate funds. So it's a case of use one or the other, really. Unless you've got enough funds to trade them both. If I was going to choose one over the other, though, I would choose ORB over SIH, personally. But that's just me. Afternoon, Ismet. Peter, SIH didn't get me on board any of the US. Probably quick moves. S&P. Same with me today. I'm in the Dow, but the S&P, look. How annoying is that, look? So there's your S&P. The 15-minute ORB closed exactly on the high and then gapped up So there's a limit order in place, which didn't trigger, which is annoying because it's just hit TP2, TP1, TP2. Yeah, didn't get it on. That's why that in the ORB version 3.1, we have that rule now in the logic where it has to close below the high, or rather the next candle has to open below the high of the previous candle. Otherwise, it won't place the pending order, because you get this instance where it runs like this. And the problem with the logic here is sometimes it will break and then you'll get a false breakout and it will just reverse. And what it will do is it will trigger you into your buy as the market is collapsing back the other way. So you have to kind of manually, every now and again, it doesn't happen very often. You just have to manually get rid of the orders. So yeah, didn't get into the S&P, although would have been lovely. NASDAQ, same thing on the NASDAQ. Look, it's so marginal you can't even see it, but it's a pip above. So didn't trade it, which is annoying. And again, TP2 hit. Would have been a beautiful day on the SIH as well today. But I did get on the Dow. And TP1 is hit, which is yesterday's high. In fact, I'm just going to trail this up as well. I leave this much more on autopilot because it's only using, if it's very low risk. It's not trading high risk at all. This is my bit of a fun account. Haven't been in for a while due to uni work. Afternoon outro. Just wanted to ask if you're still position trading. Yeah. So that's what I've got on at the moment. I'm not up much this month. It's been slow this month because I'm only in week 4 though. But I mean, it's slow this month just because the market's not moving. We're not. If we're struggling to get any decent market structure going. So I have got a few got 4 positions on the Aussie New Zealand, 3 on the others, 1 on the Swiss yen. But everything is within kind of an ADR look. Pound US dollar average within ADR. Aussie New Zealand's a little bit further. I think I'm at 150. We're at 130. Waiting for stuff to kick in. Mr. Robbers, are you really a robber? Should you be on here advertising the fact that you're a robber? Just found your channel as I sat to trade this morning. I like the commentary. Liked and subscribed. Good man. You must be Peter Post RSA then, because it hasn't said you've subscribed unless you are that person. Then again, doesn't always work. Right, so I'm all done on the indices today, and this is all stuck, not moving. So just keep your eyes peeled on Financial Juice this afternoon. As soon as we've got that Trump call, oh, here we go. Call with Putin has begun. Trump's call with Putin is underway. Probably won't last that long. I don't know. It might do. But yeah, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that one, wouldn't you? Would you like to come over and do some drinking of vodka and dancing? Sure, he would. Anyway, so we'll find out what's happening there. So be prepared for Trump to big this up because he's going to want to make headway in this. And he's not going to let anybody not know if he does manage to make headway. So I'm not sure what that'll do to the dollar because this is not really related to the dollar. But be prepared for some volatility potentially. If he comes out and says absolute useless. We can't get anywhere. We're not going to help anymore. I'm really sorry, but you're all going to have to deal with it yourself because we're out. Euro is going to have to step up. So there is potential that we might get some bond purchases suddenly spike the euro, because what the Eurozone are going to do is they're going to need to raise capital. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm not convinced we're going to get any headway, but you never know. This is Trump. We will find out. Mohammed, how do you set your stop loss on indices as a percentage of ADR? Go and watch the video on the website. So if you go to the opening range breakout EA on the website, it's so slow today. I've just moved servers and I think I might move back. That video there explains the video. This is an hour long. Oh, shush me. This is an hour long, but this explains the strategy, the EA settings, how it all works, etc. And then further down, you've got that video broken up into small parts. So if you just want to know specifically about stop loss and target options, for example, which you just asked about, that will take you to that part of the video, which explains just about the stops and targets. There you go. Go and watch that. But so everything I do is based on ADR, average daily range. So basically the EA monitors the average daily range, and then it uses a percentage of the average daily range to determine range suitability. And then it takes trades and the stop is placed within the initial range. But it's not done on anything apart from maths. So pure statistics and mathematics. So we don't use the other side of the range or recent low or anything. It's basically done on average movements. Right. I'll leave it there today. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in Discord or Telegram. I'll update you if anything happens on this. I don't think it will because we're stuck. So FX-wise, I'm just sitting in everything at the minute, just waiting for something to happen. Euro CAD, there is a potential Euro CAD I might take a profit off today. So we have come off of the previous low and last week's high. I will, if we get a move down into here, I might well take a partial just to get something in the bank because I can put that back on. But realistically, that's all I'm making money on at the moment is partials because I can't get anything going. All right, so have a good day. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be back on Wednesday morning, member stream as usual. So Wednesday morning, we will do the member stream at 8 o'clock if you are a member. And then obviously I'll be back Wednesday afternoon for the afternoon session as usual for New York. And then we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, no news today, so nothing to worry about today. Aussie dollar, bank any Aussie you've got ahead of that. And we've got the CAD CPI. So volatility kicks in tomorrow and then we'll have a look at that on Wednesday. All right, have a good day. Anything you need, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you next time.